My first degree is in electronic engineering. I did my degree in the UK, and I graduated in 1980 and then came back to Sri Lanka because I wanted to come back to Sri Lanka because I personally feel there's no other place like your motherland. So after I came back to Sri Lanka, I was not too sure which area to get into. I had a liking towards IT and computers, but I was still open to other options. So I applied to many places, and I got several job offers from some IT companies and non-IT companies as well. I evaluated all these offers, and in 81 February, I joined Metropolitan. At that time, it was called Metropolitan Agencies. I joined Metropolitan Agencies as an engineer. And when I joined Metropolitan Agencies, we were very strong at that time with office equipment. And one of the main reasons why I joined them is they told me that, Niranjan, why don't you try and come in to our Metropolitan group and try to set up a computer company, because at that time we did not have any computers. At that time the only computers were IBM was there, NCR was there, and Wang computers were there from DMS, and Burroughs from BC Computers. So those were the only computers that were there in 1981. There were no personal computers. A few years later, there was a small computer that came called Sinclair. That was like the first step for a personal computer. So that was the computer scenario. And then I joined Metropolitan, and to give you a recap of the technology available at that time, when I joined Metropolitan, we were very strong in the banks. We were like the monopoly supplier of banking equipment. And when I say banking equipment, the equipment is ledger card printers. At that time, banks had no computers. All your account details are on a ledger card. So you go to the bank, and if you want to encash a check, they take your check, say you want to pay 25,000, then they have to take the check, they have to get your ledger card. They look for the ledger card with your name, and on that ledger card is printed the pickup balance, last debit, and the balance. And then if you have sufficient funds, they give you the money and update the ledger card. I mean, it's very difficult to believe from 81, having all the account details on a ledger card, today at a press of a button, they can access information on your account here as well as internationally. So we used to have a machine called Robotron and Optima from East Germany, where we were like the monopoly supplier. Our only competitor at that time, I think, was NCR Mechanical. It's called Mechanical Ledger Card Printers. Burroughs had, NCR had, and we had this Robotron and Ascota from Germany. And so this was the scenario. Back office is on ledger card, and when you deposit the money or debit, the certification is done using validation printer again. We were like the monopoly suppliers providing Canon teller machines. So I think it is in 1982 that the Bank of Ceylon decided, I think this ledger card concept will go off soon, because internationally they noticed that the banks are all moving into computers. And Bank of Ceylon was completely on ledger cards, completely manual system ledger cards. So they made up a plan, and there were two fantastic gentlemen who sort of spearheaded this project. The two gentlemen are Mr. Janaka de Silva and late Mr. or Professor R.B. Ekanayaka, because he was head of IT, and Mr. Janaka de Silva was head of strategy at Bank of Ceylon. So they had discussions with companies like Metropolitan, Burroughs, Wang, everyone, and they wanted to move into IT. But they also realized that if they immediately move on to IT, they could have a problem with the unions, because the unions were anti-IT or anti-computers, because as soon as they move to computers, they will lose their overtime, because the branch closes at 2 o'clock, say, and then till about 6, 7 o'clock, they are updating the ledger cards, doing all the documentation. If everything is going to be online, they are going to lose overtime. So it was a big problem. On one hand, the banks have to move and get onto automation, and the other hand, huge resistance from the unions. So they came out with a smart plan. They said, okay, we don't want to get on to computers immediately, let us do this in stages. So they called a tender, it was in 83, early 83 if I remember right, for computer with a ledger card printer. They wanted all the records to go into a computer, but they wanted the entire details to be updated on a ledger card printer, on a ledger card, to show the people, don't worry, even if the computers come, the ledger card is still there. So when this computer was called for a computer with ledger card printer, the company that we represent in Sri Lanka at that time as well as now is Canon. Metropolitan has been with Canon now for about 40 years. We are the sole distributor for Canon. So we approached Canon and said, there is now we have a threat, because we are almost a monopoly supplier of Canon telemachines. Now the banks are moving into automation, the banks are moving into computers, and what can you offer us as far as computers are concerned? So at that time, the only computer Canon had is a computer called Canon AS100, sort of a big box. That was one of the first stages of a personal computer. A big box with very low power. If I remember right, the RAM would have been like 8K or something like that. And the disk, the storage is a 8-inch floppy disk. I don't think the current young generation will know this. It's an 8-inch floppy disk with very, very small capacity. So they said, we can give the computers, but we don't know what you mean by ledger card printer. So we said, hey, we need a ledger card printer, because they want to maintain the existing ledger cards while getting on to first stage of computerization. But we could not find a single ledger card printer around, because all international banks have moved on to online computing. So we had a lot of discussions with Canon, and we worked with another company, and we basically got a dedicated ledger card printer made for us, for Sri Lanka, because we did not want to lose this tender, because then we would have lost out on the biggest market segment we had at that time in Sri Lanka, the banking sector. So our only competitor was at that time a machine called Burroughs BC 2030. That was a huge sort of a computer with a ledger card printer. So I think the tender was almost tailor-made for Burroughs BC 2030, because that had an inbuilt computer and a ledger card printer. Nobody else had anything. But we did not give up. We knew that machine was there, we knew we had to compete with them, but we did not give up. We continuously had dialogue with our principals, and we finally, for the tender, we offered the Canon AS100 with a Fujitsu ledger card printer. So when the Bank of Ceylon got the offer, they actually didn't take us seriously. They didn't take us seriously because they thought the only solution available in the world for a ledger card printer and a computer was this Burroughs BC 2030. So when they got this offer for Canon computer with ledger card printer, they thought, hey, what is this? We've never heard about it. And they called us and said, you have offered some computer and a ledger card printer. What is this? I said, no, it's a system specially designed for you. And they said, okay, in that case, we want to have a look at it. And they gave us 1 week's notice to do a demonstration. Now we don't have the machines here. They gave Mr. R.B. Ekanayaka and Ms. Janaka de Silva said, okay, give us a demonstration in 1 week, because they thought basically this is not a solution that works. So 1 week was a very tight deadline. We discussed, myself and a colleague of mine, Mr. Dushan Sosa, who was our engineer at that time. We flew to Hong Kong, got the machines, went through the program, and we hand carried the machines from Hong Kong to Sri Lanka. We hand carried I still remember we hand carried the machine on 30th of April, and 2nd or 3rd May was the demonstration. So the on 1st May we go to office, we connect up everything. Now we can't connect it up because it's a 110 volt machine, and we can't buy a UPS or anything because everything is closed on May 1st. So May 1st also we couldn't do anything. I think May 2nd in the afternoon, by the time the Bank of Ceylon officials came to our office to see the machine, the two gentlemen who came were Mr. R.B. Ekanayak and Mr. Niranjan de Silva. We had everything ready and we demonstrated it. And they got a shock. They got a shock. Hey, okay, so this does everything. I said, yeah. So this is tailor-made for you. So I think that was the initial breakthrough, and that is I think the most challenging project that I have undertaken, and I can confidently say that that was the initial step for computerizing of Bank of Ceylon and many other banks. Ledger card printer, computer, over a period of time they gave up the ledger card printer. By that time the unions also knew that the advantage of having computers, and gradually over a period of time they got onto a fully automated system. So that was a very challenging task. So another challenging task that we were embarked with is the electricity billing system. Because the electricity billing system adopted by CEB at that time is the meter reader comes to your house, takes down the meter readings, then goes back to office print the bill, and the bill is posted. And the collection cycle is very long, because they have to go back to office and they post the bill, and a lot of people say, no, I didn't get the bill. So at that time, Lanka Electricity Company, LECO, the private arm of the electricity board, they thought, no, we want to change the system. And they came out with a system where you take the meter readings, compare with the previous reading, do the calculation, put the amount, and hand over the bill at that time. And a tender was called for this project. And the project consultants for this project was Becca Wally in New Zealand. And there were a lot of consultants who came, and they evaluated all the offers, and again they found that the Metropolitan offer was the best. And we were awarded the contract for the LECO online billing system. That was how today all electricity, both CEB and LECO, they have on the spot bill calculation, giving it to the consumer, and that way huge improvement in the cash flow. And the people can't say that they did not receive the bill, because the bill is given, handed over to the person at the time the meter reading was taken. So I think that was another very challenging project that we undertook, and the results of that you can see today, because today all utilities, not only electricity, even water now, they have the online billing system. No longer taking the meter reading, going back to office, printing the bill, posting it, that's gone. So while all this was happening, I met Mr. Yasa Karunaratne, because he was a consultant to the Lanka Electricity Company. And Mr. Yasa Karunaratne and I became close friends, and he dragged me into this Computer Society of Sri Lanka. So I went for 1 or 2 meetings of the Computer Society, and he convinced me to serve in the board of the Computer Society. And I think from about 1983 onwards, I've served in many capacities at the Computer Society board. I've been the secretary, I've been the treasurer, I've been the assistant secretary, I've been the vice president, and after Mr. Lal Chandranath from DMS, I took over as president of the Computer Society of Sri Lanka. And that was also a fantastic experience, because that way I was able to network among all the ICT professionals. Now I think some information I want to give the young generation is, please remember that this networking is very important. If you have to go up the career ladder, you cannot go up the career ladder being by yourself. You have to network, you have to belong to professional bodies. And if you take ICT, the professional bodies would be the Computer Society of Sri Lanka, British Computer Society, Australian Computer Society. I recommend you to join one of these bodies and network among the ICT professionals. So one of the most challenging tasks that I had at the Computer Society was we were hosting the Southeast Asia Regional Computer Confederation in the year 1995, and Mr. Yasa Karunaratne wanted to have the best SIAC conference ever, because Yasa is one person I really admire, because his dreams are always big. Big dreams, big visions, and somehow he achieves it. So he said, no, we have to have the best SIAC conference ever. And we were at a council meeting discussing how to do the promotion for the SIAC. And then there was a recommendation made to take a troupe, dancing and promotion troupe from Sri Lanka to Pakistan, because the year before Sri Lanka it was being held in Pakistan. But at that time, even in 1995, it was going to cost us about 300,000 rupees to take a troupe from Sri Lanka to Pakistan to do the promotion for the Sri Lanka event happening the following year. Then at a council meeting, when this was put forward, I told Yasser and the rest of the council, I don't think it's worth spending 300,000 rupees to do this promotion. Why can't we do it ourselves? And then of course some of the members were quite shocked, how can we do it by ourselves? I said, no, I have a plan. And then Yasser said, okay Niranjan, come out with your plan next week, 1 week. So after 1 week, when we were having another exco, I came out with my plan, and my plan is that the promotion will be done by all the members of the computer society who go to Pakistan. And the support I got from the executive council and the members of the computer society was fantastic. So we had some practices here, and the people who took part, again Professor R.B. Ekanayake was there. He started the proceedings by blowing the council, and then Mr. R.B. Ekanayake, then myself, Mr. Kanishka Sugatadasa, Professor Induruwa, Nayani Fernando, Peter de Almeida, and many others. Many other senior members of the computer society. We all performed at the Ali Jinnah Stadium in Karachi in front of 1,000 people, and that promotion program is still rated at Southeast Asia Regional Computer Confederation as one of the best promotion programs, and that was all done by us. Of course, the encouragement to do that, and the person who sort of encouraged me to open up my mind to do that is Mr. Karunaratne. So I am very grateful to Yasser for sort of getting this new thinking into the council. Another challenge I had at that time at the Computer Society, when I became the president, the Computer Society was, they considered themselves as the Computer Society, this is the professional body. Then we had the SINTEC. SINTEC was considered the policy making body. Then we have the Federation. The Federation was considered as a commercial body. And all these three were working in three different compartments. But I had the feeling that we can get very much more and have synergy if we all work together. So I had a big challenge within my 1 year to get everybody to work together, and I'm very happy at the end of my first year as the president, I was able to get the Computer Society, the SINTEC, Federation, the Vendor Association, all to work together and work together to enhance the ICT capabilities professionally and on the commercial side in Sri Lanka. To talk about the technology itself, at the time I joined around 81 Metropolitan, there were no personal computers. There was only a small computer called Sinclair. After that there was Radio Shack. Computers came in, then we came out with the Canon computers, and when Canon was going out of the computer market, then Canon advised us to speak to Acer. So at that time we had discussions with Acer, and I was also instrumental in getting Acer to Sri Lanka with the support from our chairman, Mr. J.J. Ambani. So Mr. J.J. Ambani and myself, we worked with the people at Acer, and we brought in Acer to Sri Lanka about 30 years ago, about 25 years ago. And within about 4 to 5 years after we brought Acer to Sri Lanka, we were able to make it one of the top 3 brands. And a project that Metropolitan undertook recently again was about 8 or 9 years back, the smart car driving license project, because they had the normal driving licenses. So even the first smart car driving license project was entrusted to Metropolitan Group. So I was very happy and benefited a lot by belonging to the Metropolitan Group, because we are one company that always focus on new technology, new solutions. And this is something that we have to keep on doing, because we cannot be doing the same thing over and over again. They say what got you here might not get you there. So we have to innovate, we have to think of new ways of doing things, better ways of doing things, and how to exploit technology to make Sri Lanka a better place. And Sri Lanka has absolutely fantastic talent. Right now I'm working for a Japanese company, Adam Innovations. We have set up the first international IT park in Japan, and we have a few Sri Lankan companies now already operating in Japan for the first time. And the Japanese people are also they are very impressed with the technical capabilities of the Sri Lankans. So we have a lot of opportunities here, but it's just that we need to get everyone to be a bit more optimistic, think positive, think big, and move ahead fast.